what makes you different? What makes you stand out? How are people feeling after you've given them this experience? Are they feeling fulfilled? Are they feeling like, it's just another night, I'm just going to take my ass home, And that's just not something I was wanting to be. I just didn't want to settle for that. I'm like, nah, like, this is my music, this is my culture.
What's up, guys? Happy Thursday. You can't see me right now, thankfully, but let me paint a picture for you because I look absolutely insane. I got a wisdom tooth out yesterday, a singular wisdom tooth at the ripe age of 32, and I was underprepared for how fucking crazy I was going to look. I literally look like I'm packing a Zin in my cheek. So, that's been stressful for someone who, makes their money by posting videos online. I am definitely on a hiatus until my face goes back to, not being this asymmetrical. It's crazy. It is crazy. I did not know having a wisdom tooth removed was such a big ordeal, but hopefully that's the last time I will ever have to deal with something like this. My interview today with Aqutie was shot, of course, before this wisdom tooth debacle. Aqutie is a super cool chick. She started DJing in her dorm room 10, 11 years ago, and she's now sharing the stage with the likes of Black Coffee. She had a debut set on Boiler Room. Aqutie is a true music creator, okay? She's pushing the Amapiano sound forward. She's bringing it to a wider audience. She also runs an event series in New York called Heat House, so definitely go check her out. Amapiano is such a dope subgenre of house. Now, Aqutie's career is a shining example of what consistency does for a career. From the dorm room to Boiler Room, come on, it doesn't get much better than that. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation. First, for my audience, talk to me about you. Tell me how you got into DJing.
Right. So I first had my experience of DJing when I was in college. And basically, I was creating a dance mix for my dance team that I was a part of. And I was making it on DJ software. And I was like, just, mixing the songs. And I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. I come from a musical background, so naturally I was able to get it. But then when I realized, I was like, oh, wait, I think I'm actually DJing right now. And I didn't even know. Because like I said, I grew up doing music, but DJing is just something that is not, was familiar to me. So I was like, okay. So I told my mom and my sister, I was like, I think I want to DJ. I think this is pretty cool. Just like it was very fun and it felt very natural to me. So then I literally taught myself how to do everything that I'm doing 10 years later. And, it was such a process. Even when I first started, as you know, DJing is a male dominated industry. And, DJing on a college campus, you don't really see a lot of women DJs. And funny enough, my roommate, a woman as well, was also a DJ, which I didn't even know until maybe like midway through the semester. And she had her equipment on her. And I was like, girl, what? I was like, what the hell? I was like, we should definitely do parties together. We need to we're the only women DJs that I know of on the campus. So I think it would be great if we just started doing things on campus. So we would do things in our dorm. And of course we would do parties for my dance team, as we would host dance shows. So we would do DJing for the after parties then, and then parties on and off campus. And we were the only, from what I remember, we were the only women DJs doing that. We were the only women DJs at that.
You said 10 years ago you were in college?
11, excuse me. I've been DJing for 11 years now. Yeah.
Wow. Correct. Okay. I was in college, so I graduated in 2014. So, back 10 years ago, you're right. There were very few DJs, and especially women. Did you say you were DJing in your dorm, like the actual dorm room?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my
Funny
God.
enough, I was even one of my homegirls from college sent me a video of when we were just like she had threw something in her dorm, and it was just like there was a video just panning around the room, and then it stopped on me, and I was like busy DJing, and I was like, oh my God,
That's
wow,
amazing.
like this is what a moment. Like that was honestly iconic, and I was just known as the girl with who was DJing with good music taste and doing
I
my
love it.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where some of the most authentic moments in music happen is,
Mhm.
places like a dorm room where it's just you're getting together with your friends. Dorm rooms are not the biggest rooms in the world, but that's so much fun, especially when you're in college, to have that sort of experience. So you really saw an opportunity to be that person in the marketplace. Like, hey, I'm a woman, like I'm in college, there's no one out here doing what I'm doing, let me step in and start making a name for myself.
Correct. Yeah, literally. Like, and it really set the tone for other women that wanted to do the same thing. And I love that because, representation is important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So, I mean, these are conversations that we are still having on my show. There's so many DJs that are trying to move the culture forward and, honor and respect the roots of this music. What do
Mm.
you think the scene is still lacking? I mean, do you feel like we've had progress in the 11 years that you've been DJing, or do you
Oh,
think there's
yeah.
still what is your take on it?
There's still a lot of more work that needs to be done, honestly. We're not even close to where we should be. And I get it. We still have a lot of proving to do. We still have a lot of proving to do in all industries where women aren't present. But I do see now that, especially with like myself and like my peers, there are women who are inspired by us that are like, yeah, wow, you're killing it right now. I would love to do what you're doing. How can I get started? What's the right way for me to get in? And it's important that we support each other. I think
Mhm.
it's just all about supporting each other and tapping into your communities and making sure you're aware of what's going on in the scenes that you're in. Like, it's as simple as like people hit me up all the time, women and men. But, I always make it a point to like let people know like, hey, if you want to do this, you got to take these steps. Be in the community, go out, talk to people, make mixes. Because for a long time, all I was doing was making mixes and sharing it within my community of friends. And there are people that still listen to my mixes from so long ago. So it really is about, it's just as simple as just like putting your people on and advocating for people. I
Mm.
think we need more of that. Just like people being like, yo, like I know this person, I have this platform. Even if it's even if it's someone that's below you or like you're below them, whatever the case may be, it's important that you tap into your community and just don't be afraid and ashamed to be there for people. There's like we're not close, child, but I will say the women are killing it right now in the DJ game. It's more than I've ever seen in my life of
Mhm.
DJing and just in my
Mhm.
life period.
Mhm.
There are communities for women DJs. My friends throw workshops, for women that want to be DJs. It's just as simple as that, just like supporting each other. I think that's all we need right now.
Yeah, it's so important. And I want to go back to an interesting point you just made, that you said people are listening to your mixes from so long ago. And I think that's really important to highlight because one, it shows that like this music is not a flash in the pan, like something that's old can pop off later on.
Mm,
And two, it's all about being consistent because you never know when a piece of art you made, might become relevant.
correct. That's the word, is consistency. And that's the one thing I tell people. I'm like, you can have these aspirations to do what it is that I'm doing, but the only reason why I've gotten here is because I've been consistent. It's like, and there's a lot of people that are becoming DJs now, and DJing is glamorized, and like, DJs are becoming superstars. So like people are like, yeah, I want to do this now, but it ain't easy. Even within the 11 years of me doing this, there's still a lot that I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying? There's still a lot that I'm working on. It's a lot of proving that I have to do, regardless of how seasoned I am.
Yeah.
So it really is about being patient, because you cannot compare your journey to others. That's the worst way. That's the worst thing you could do, is like just compare yourself to others. Consistency, that's the key. That's the word, consistency.
So when would you say, you've been doing this for 11 years, at what point, what year did you realize things were really taking off for you? Because we, like you said, we can't compare everyone's journey, but it is interesting to kind of connect the dots. Like, when was it, and what do you think you were doing that kind of helped accelerate you to the point you're at now?
I graduated in 2016, and when I got out of school, I was like, I got my degree, but I was like, I love to DJ. So I think when I realized that there was something that I wanted to do is when I saw the change that I wanted to see. I used to play open format music, meaning like all kinds of genres. But then once I started stepping into the dance music world, specifically like South African dance music, that's when I realized that I was really starting to find my sound in myself. And then, I would play in like these clubs where you wouldn't hear this music before. And then what really, I think, set me off was during the pandemic. So my friends and I, my friend, they run this, it's a label now, but it's also like a party. It's just like a community organization. It's called Tech Afrique. We were doing those parties when, people needed motivation. People needed something to get them out, to make them feel like everything is okay. Music has a way of moving people and inspiring people. And that's how, like, just being able to express myself in that way, I feel like people really felt that. And they heard it. They were feeling it in their bodies. They were just like, yeah, like, this is music that's making me feel good. This is music that I might or might have not known before. I heard Aqutie play it. And I also was doing this other party event called Amapiano NYC, which is what really stamped my name into the community as like the pioneer of this music, this genre, this culture. Because a lot of people weren't playing it. A lot of people, even before I decided to go straight house music, were like, I don't think you should do that. They were just like, I don't think there's like any like just discouraging me from doing it. But that's when I knew I was doing something right. Because at the end of the day, if this is what I feel is good, and it makes me feel good, and it's making other people feel good, and I feel like daring to be different is always going to be the thing for me. Like, I felt like we were lacking something in the party scene. Like, growing up in college, like, we were dancing and having a good time. I think the pandemic really stripped that culture away from us, where it's like, things are just different now in terms of like how we party. But I just felt like something was lacking there. I'm like, this is good music that I know and I love, and I know that people will like this. I know that people will enjoy it, because for one, I have good taste. And for two, people are very trusting of, people that are bringing something different and new. And I really was happy that people trusted me in that way. And I have so many, like, I've done so many gigs where I'm just like 2023 was a great year for me, career wise, because I did like Black Coffee. I played like so many places. But I think where I saw a turning point in my career is when I started to state, when I became true to myself and was just, doing something different from what the norm was. And that was like having that, building that community. I think that's where everything initially took off for me.
That's a great point, because what you're saying is you got specific in a genre, in a style, and when everyone else told you like, no, you need to, do something that's more popular, or more like whatever it is. My favorite phrase is, if you're for everybody, you're for nobody. Like, you're not supposed
Okay.
to be for everybody, right? And so what you said is, this is what I like, this is what I know. I am going to be a tastemaker, not a follower of what everyone else is saying is popular. And I
Correct.
think that if other DJs, especially newer DJs who are trying to make their way in the scene, would listen to that advice and double down on what it is that makes them unique, for one, the scene would be better off for it.
Hmm.
And two, they would have more success.
Yes. Yeah, it really is important that you be unique to yourself, because we can all be out here doing the same thing, but
Mhm.
what makes you different? What makes you stand out? What makes you, how are people feeling after you've given them this experience? Are they feeling fulfilled? Are they feeling like, it's just another night, I'm just going to take my ass home, and that's just not something I was wanting to be. I just didn't want to settle for that. I'm like, nah, like, this is my music, this is my culture, people have to know it, I love it, people will enjoy it. It might be new to some people are definitely going to be, maybe just like, I don't know if the word is against it, but some people are going to be like, but those people, it's okay if they don't understand. I'm doing this for the ones that do. And the ones
Yeah,
that are also open to wanting to understand.
right. Do you feel like being in New York gives you more opportunity to be able to like have this unique sound and be part of these unique events? Because I think that across the United States, we have pockets of like areas that have like when I think of Denver, for example, I'm thinking of bass music, right? Chicago's like where I'm at is true Chicago house music. And New York, I feel like there's a really wide array, different flavors of house you can get out there.
Mhm.
Do you think that being there has benefited your career?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, New York is a melting pot of cultures.
Hmm.
You can play anything and get away with it. Like, New York is a very special place in that way. You're very spoiled because you get to hear all different kinds of things at the club, and the way that I mix up my music when even when I was playing open format, I always inserted South African house music in general into my sets. Like, I'll start off with like some hip hop and R&B, then I'll go to like some Afro beats, then I'll make my way into like some Amapiano or like some Afro house, and I'll end up in soca, dance hall. Like, I was able to give them a well-rounded set for them. I was teaching them really, like, and I'm still teaching them to this day. Just like, that you can blend these sounds and this different kind of music. It's not impossible. And New Yorkers, they're very receptive to good music, no matter what it is. As long as they're dancing, they don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a
Yes.
great point. I married a New Yorker, and dancing is his favorite activity.
Exactly right. Yeah,
you know,
there's no place like it. Honestly, like, I've never been to Chicago, but I can only imagine as the birth of house music, as that place where it's from. I can only imagine what it's like.
yeah, it's
Well, go ahead.
it is very similar.
Hmm.
And I think that being in the position that you're in, being a tastemaker and guiding people on a journey through all those different genres, is an incredible thing to be able to have your audience's trust to do
Mm,
that, because some fans are so stuck in what they like, and if they show up and they don't hear exactly what they like, they're leaving. So
yes.
what is your advice to other artists who who want to be in that position of being a tastemaker, of guiding their audience? Like, how do you approach that, either mentally or like logistically? How do you structure your set so that you can really show people something new and maintain their attention?
Well, yeah, you have to trust in yourself that, for one, you got good taste. That's one. You have to be sure of yourself. And that's the one thing that I knew. I was like, I know what I'm doing here is good. And I know that they're going to enjoy it. So, when you come with that positive energy, with where you're confident, it'll shine through in anything that you do creatively. And as far as like how I set up my sets, it's always story. It's a story. You got to take them through it. You know, you can't just like start off with a hit. Unless you start off with a hit, if that's your story, then let's hear how you're transforming. Like let's hear what you're about to do. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's many times where I've like started with a hit and I've taken people through that journey and they've understood. But you know, as far as like how I like to set up my sets, I like to usually start at a slower pace, and then I just like bring it up. Like I would start like if I'm being technical right now, I would start at like, let's say the BPM is at like 110, or even like sometimes I like to play some Afro beats if it's like a certain gig and I'm like, you know, I'm gonna start off a little slower. I'll start off with like a 90 BPM, and then I'll find myself at 110. Then I keep going up as I change the genres because each genre is different. And it's kind of like I like to think of it like a steady heartbeat, you know, like kind of like just rising and then at the end of my set, you'll find me at like 126. But the way that I set up my sets, you wouldn't even notice that we went from such a lower point to a higher point because I'm just steadily. It's like, you know, steady wins the race. You know, you gotta give them a story. You gotta change it up. You gotta, you know, give them something to work with, because sometimes I do sets where people are dancing all the way straight through, and that's most of the time. And then, or like, you know, there's points where like, you know, you can catch a breath, and then like, you know, you get yourself together. Like, it's all about the story that you want to tell on the dance floor. Right. And people should be able to understand the story with the way that you set up your sets.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And fans are very, very much in tune. You know, people who are fans of this music, it's not like going to like the regular top 40 club where their intentions are more, who am I going to meet and how many bottles am I going to have and blah, blah, blah. These are people who are really engaged with what the DJ is doing. And so the storytelling aspect's so important. I read somewhere though that you don't plan your sets that meticulously. That's true?
Yeah, I don't really plan them for real because I like to just go in. I like the element of surprise, you know. I like to surprise myself and surprise them. The only time I ever find myself having to, you know, necessarily plan something is like maybe like a special set where it's like a certain kind of crowd. You know, all of my sets are different. Like I play a range of house music, but like you know, for example, I did the Book Mirage about 3 weeks ago, and that was a 3-hour set. And I didn't know what I was gonna play, but I knew that I wanted to go like everywhere, and I also was, you know, only time I ever find myself like planning as well, which is the next point, is if I'm like recording it so that I can have it, you know, readily available for people that want to listen that weren't able to be there. And every set that I do, I like it to sound different, which is why I don't like to plan it. You know, we all, as DJs, we all have those few tracks that we like to repeat because, you know, they're bangers. I'm never going to deprive the people of a banger. You know what I'm saying? But no, I don't. And the way that I organize my music too, it's very organized genre, like, and it's nicely structured where I know I'm able to just flow through the set. And like I told you, I know normally I start slow and I end up fast. So I already have an idea of how I'm going to take my set. What do I play though? I don't even know, child. I don't know.
Wow. So what if you were mentoring someone, would you give them the same advice? Don't plan your set, or do you have any, because I know some people have strong opinions about planning versus unplanning. Where do you fall on that spectrum?
So actually, I also sometimes I teach people how to DJ as well. And I've come to realize that everybody's a different DJ. I don't really tell people what to do because it's like some people, like there's some students that I have that would be like, no, like, you know, they have like these mixes, these ideas that they have in their mind that they want to do on the dance floor. So I'm like, okay, if you wanna do this, let's make sure we perfected that. Because if you want to be the DJ that's gonna be song for song, you know, you're gonna play, let's get that together then. But if you want to be a DJ that wants to go in and just like freestyle, I got you with that too. So I don't really like to tell people what to do because, people gonna do what they want to do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's really up to you how you wanna, present your art.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. There's not one right way to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like every day I go on Twitter, though it's telling me otherwise because people have such strong opinions about something that is so subjective, right?
It's so subjective. Like I don't have Twitter anymore. I now use Threads. And for some reason my algorithm is like DJs giving me unsolicited advice. And I'm just like, shut up. Like no one asked you. But then there are some good ones. I'm like, okay, you ate that. I feel you on that thought. But it's just like you cannot tell people what to do, especially with the way things are changing. I think people need to embrace change and they need to get over themselves.
Yeah. So what do you think, if I can explore that a little bit, what do you think is changing the most in the scene right now?
Oh my God, performance. The role of a DJ is changing. Like you see people like Uncle Waffles, they're giving full blown dance performances with their sets. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
not the same. DJs are also not a lot of DJs are playing traditionally. Not a lot of DJs are carrying crates anymore. But we don't got to do that. It's 2024. We can put music on USB sticks. We can have music on our laptops. We can play on CDJs or we can play on a controller. Like there are like such popular DJs like who are producing DJs. Like K is one of my favorite examples. He plays on a controller for most of the time. And a lot of DJs would be like, oh my God, they would lose their damn minds. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're just like, it doesn't give you the same sound quality. It doesn't give you this. But I mean, K is a well established musician. I'm sure he has a nice setup where you won't even notice that he's playing on the damn controller. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it is that you're playing on as long as you are performing and you are having a fun time and you're giving people an experience that they will not forget.
Right.
That's the key of it all. Like, there would be times when I back in the day when I first DJ, I would be carrying my big ass controller everywhere I went. And yeah, sometimes people give me the side eye, but it's like mind your business because you're about to enjoy this set that I'm about to do right now. And then I graduated to CDJs and like I love carrying just my clutch, like that's where I'm at
Right.
now. But I also I don't play vinyl, and that's how things began. But I just feel like if you sound good, and you're comfortable, that's what matters the most to me.
Yeah.
I don't give a crap what you're playing on. And I think there's a lot of stush DJs who are like, just want to be very much traditionalist, but things aren't traditional anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there are still DJs out there who think you're not a real DJ unless you are DJing on vinyl.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Like, it's not everybody has access to cars that need to carry those crates. You
Yeah.
know what I'm
Right.
saying? I'm in New York City. I don't got a damn car. I'm on the train. You know what I'm saying? And it's best for me to do what is easier. It
Right.
doesn't take away from my experience and my knowledge as a DJ or a musician, period. It doesn't take anything away from me. Did you hear me on my set tonight? Did I sound good? All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it's just so clear from even talking to you for 25 minutes that, that key thing you talked about, confidence, must just come from a place like of you just really knowing who you are.
Mm,
And, I've talked to hundreds of artists, in this format and others, and I can always tell, the people who are fully confident in themselves, like, are the ones that don't have anything bad to say. They don't have anything negative to say about the scene because that's not their energy. And it seems like
right.
you really embody that too. you know, it seems like there's room for everybody when it, you know, in your
Yeah,
opinion.
there's room for everyone. Like, you know, I know DJs, like, there's so many DJs out there, and I get their sentiments because it's like, you know, there's a lot of DJs out there that think they're DJs, but they're not eating the girls up like they should be because of, like, you know, what DJing has become now. So I understand that, but also, like, you got to give people some time to find themselves. And like I said, you can't compare yourselves to those people because those people that might have just started DJing are probably even more popular than you. And you have to be okay with that. And that's fine. Like, you know, you just cannot compare yourself. Like, it's taken a lot for me to get this confidence that I've had as a musician. I'm still working on myself. I'm not perfect, but I always try to make sure that I'm just sure of how I feel in that moment. I tried my best to empower those around me because, you know, I didn't have a mentor to teach me any of these things. I had to teach my damn self. So I think that's what also has given me the confidence. Is like, you know, there are people that I admire, but, you know, I never really had a lot of people to turn to in terms of like DJing, you know, but now as I step more into my career and get more business minded and business focused on where I'm going, especially with making production and like collaborating with artists that are bigger than me. I'm starting to understand myself more, and I'm still growing and I'm still figuring it out. But one thing I know for sure is that I'm good at what I do. And I think that's what helps me just get through.
I love that. And it's interesting. A lot of artists that I look up to, like Green Velvet is the first one comes to mind. I remember seeing an interview he did where he said he never had a mentor either. And that is a common thread among a lot of people in this industry. Everybody is finding their way. It's a young genre, comparatively speaking, right? Like if we trace it back to like the late 80s, that is a young music genre compared to everything else. And so, you know, it is a lot of, you know, bootstrapping, finding your own way. So what would be, you know, for the artists listening, what would be your number one tip for artists who maybe aren't so confident and they're trying to, you know, gain more confidence in themselves?
Number one is be patient. You got to be patient. Do not compare. Do not compare yourself to others. That will be, comparison is a thief of joy. And the amount of times I've even battled with myself, I'm like, damn, like, how are they getting there and I'm not there? But I know that I'm on the way, you know, and you just have to you have to be sure that you're going to get there. Every day is not going to be perfect, but just know that this journey that you're on is the journey that you're meant to be on. And, you know, just believe in yourself that you'll get to where you want to be, because you will. It's just going to take some time. Be consistent, you know, connect with your community. And when I say that, like, don't be so business forward all the time. Like, actually get to know people, because at the end of the day, yes, we're all trying to get money. I get it. But it's like, you got to connect with these people. These are artists just like yourself. You know, these are people who are hustling, maybe even still struggling too. And, you know, you can always get to the business side of it when the time comes. But when you build a connection and then, you know, things come naturally and things come together authentically and genuinely, you will see a lot of good things happening. You will have like positive energy. You got to surround yourself around people who are on the same frequency, elevated frequencies, period. You know, you got to make sure y'all on the same level, because like, people in this industry will chew your ass and spit your ass out. So you just have to be wary about the kind of people that you keep around, because they will suck you dry. And yeah, just continue to be yourself. Don't try to block out the noise as much as you can. I know it's hard, but you have to do it. And yeah, always tap into your community and your tribe of people, because you can't do this alone.
That's great advice. It is. You know, network and give more than you receive. Build genuine connections. Be patient. That is all advice.
But don't give too much. Don't give too much.
That's also a good caveat.
Don't give too much, because people people will see your potential, and then they take and they take, and then you're like,
Absolutely.
you have to be wary of that, because you know
It's
how it
true.
is. You know how it is.
It's true. It is. It can be a very isolating journey because
Mm-hmm.
you have to worry about those things. But like you said, finding your community and people who have your best interests at heart is a beautiful thing. And the community is growing and it's out there. You just have to take the time to find it.
Correct.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for your time. And I'm
Thank
excited to see
you.
your journey continue.
Thank you so much for having me. This was a fabulous conversation. Thank you.
Community, it's a word that we say on this show all the time, and it is something that cannot be overstated. Nobody can or should go through the artist journey alone. And that's why my partner Sherman and I have created Chicago Music Nexus. It's a one-stop shop to gain knowledge and grow your network in the dance music industry. I am so happy to report that we have sold out of pre-sale. You guys ate those tickets up. GA is now on sale. The event's happening on November 23rd. I have all the details in the show notes, a link to our website so you can see it there. You can see what panelists are going to be there, when the networking sessions are. Guys, we have invited some massive players in the dance music industry to speak on our panels. They will be sticking around to chat with you. We're talking label owners, PR managers, people who work for massive event promotion companies. These are the people you need to meet and have on your team. This event will be catered. We're bringing in some of Chicago's finest foods. We are sponsored by CH Distillery and System Seltzers, so there will be plenty of libations to go around, all included in your ticket. Guys, do not wait on this. We have a very limited run of tickets. This is an intimate space. We want the time spent to be useful. So again, all the information is in the show notes. I cannot wait to see you guys there. And as always, I'll talk to you next week.